Now what we're understanding is despite proof piling up, PFI remains defiant. That's the updates that we're now getting in. There are PFI protests in Darbhanga. Darbhanga unit protested today against Patna police, alleging that they're making false cases against the PFI. Saurabh Rathore continues to be with us. Saurabh, this is something that we've seen in the past as well. Every time PFI is in the scanner, they come out and say this is just trying to defame us. They've managed to stay under this garb of a political outfit or an NGO, whatever they like to call themselves, or a social outfit. But we know that the roots, as far as their actions are concerned, are extremely problematic. What has happened in Darbhanga today?
Yes, Ridwan, you are right. Darbhanga witnessed another protest of similar kind when PFI's name came into picture of radicalizing people, on the allegation of radicalizing people in Fulwari Sharif. The document which was found was quite, it was a very, you can say it's an intrinsic document, and it was not acceptable by the police, and also the police that mentioned the charges in the FIR are anti-nationals. It was a section of IPC 121, 121A, 153A, B, and also section 34 of IPCC. So these charges were of waging war against the government and instigating people for communal violence. So these kinds of the allegation that the FIR talks about, these were witnessed, and after that Darbhanga saw a protest by PFI. They had a rally where they were raising slogans that the Patna police is trying to defame PFI. It is not an outlawed organization, but the allegation that Patna police have mentioned in the FIR, they are opposing that. But if we talk about the Patna police, they are confirmed that the document that they had found out as evidence in Fulwari Sharif, they talked about anti-national activities of creating Islamic country, making India an Islamic country by 2047. So these documents were very serious in nature, and Patna police are investigating the case, and they are conducting raids at several places. Few days back also in Katihar we saw PFI workers, they protested, and today we saw Darbhanga having those protests by the PFI workers, saying that it is the Patna police is trying to malign malign the PFI.
Saurabh, I request you to stay on with us. Let me quickly go back to Alok Bansal. Alok Bansal, the reason that PFI continues to be this defiant, despite its name being under the scanner for years in the past, despite there being dossiers and enough data, is, as Vikram Singh was pointed out, there is a lack of intent today to crack a ban and take some strict action. I also want to talk to you about the larger issue as far as the role of madrasas are concerned, because that's an issue that many also seem to be wanting to push under the carpet every time we see an issue of radicalization.
See, there is no doubt that there should be an intent of banning such organizations. The only problem is such organizations will metamorph into new organizations, and we have to keep a hawk's eye to curb all these organizations and their new versions that keep emerging from time to time. As far as Madaris is concerned, their curriculum needs to be monitored. In fact, there should be a board to administer these Madaris, different schools of thoughts. All the Madaris of that school should be clubbed together, and a board should be created where there should be a government member to monitor the curriculum. The textbooks need to be looked into, because there is a subtle radicalization and there is an overt radicalization which is taking place through this curriculum. And this curriculum is important. I have been saying that for last 7-8 years, that this country needs a de-radicalization. Unfortunately, most of our policymakers don't understand theology, and they don't understand how theology attracts people and how theology drives people on the irrational path of radicalization. So if you don't understand theology, you will not be able to counter radicalization, because your counter narrative also has to be seeped in theology, because these people are driven to radicalization by selectively quoting from theological texts, and that's how people are driven. And this needs to be countered. Madaris, of course, have to be monitored. There is need for modern education and subjects also to be taught in Madaris, because we cannot keep churning out ulema after ulema. After all, what will they do? They have to have an employability. So the government must crack down the whip and ensure that all these madaris teach some modern subjects and their curriculum and textbooks are monitored by a government body.
Okay, Alok Bansal and Vikram Singh. Unfortunately, I'll have to leave the conversation there. I'd like to thank my colleagues Saurabh and Arunima as well. We're now getting some other updates also now coming